welcome to my channel. I'm Fidelia Brett, and this is Starting It with Fidelia Brett. So if you're thinking of starting a business or scaling a business, starting a career or scaling, I keep getting that wrong, or changing a career, then this is the channel for you. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, hello again. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe so that you can get more notifications and content for whenever we post on YouTube. So today is going to be something quite quick, so I just want to give you 5 reasons or 5 tips on branding, identity. What's your brand and what identity does your brand have? So the first question is, a brand is like you as a person. What is your identity? What do people know you for? What do people, when they think about this person or that company, what's the first thing that comes to mind? So it's asking yourself, what is my brand about? What is it that my potential customers will know me for? What is it that my people who are looking for me, what will they remember me for? What's going to make me stand out? What is my brand about? What am I about? What is my business about? That is the first thing that you need to identify, what your brand is about and what your brand is going to offer to potential clients. So you need to sort of have that established and say, yes, this is what we are, this is what we do, and this is how we're going to go about doing what we do to, 1, either solve a problem, or 2, provide a service. So that's one of the things you need to identify first of all. Then the second one is, what makes you different? You've got Joe Blogs literally around the corner, who is all over the place, and everyone knows who Joe is. But the question is, do people know who you are? What makes you different from Joe? But Joe does exactly the same thing as you. Are you just going into business because Joe does something similar? Or are you starting or moving into that career because someone is sort of saying to you, this is what you need to do, or that's how you need to go about doing it? You need to differentiate what it is you offer and what it is that will make you different from Joe next door. It could be that Joe does digital marketing. You as well, you do digital marketing. But why is Joe so popular? Joe can be popular because he spends a lot of time on he could be on YouTube, or he could probably spend a lot of time on Instagram, and he's constantly showing people how they can go about marketing, how they can do things in the marketing world. And whether you've got the budget or you've not got the budget, that's what Joe does. Joe shows everyone how you can get your marketing to the right clientele. So you go to Joe and Joe says, okay, for you to pay for my service, it's going to cost you 20k. You'd be like, oh, I don't have 20k. But the way Joe is going to go about explaining how you paying 20k can fetch you $1 million, wouldn't you listen to Joe? Of course you will. So that is Joe's strategy. Joe knows how to get clients to listen, as well as providing a service that would not just make them money, but would be able to expand the business to the next level. So that's what Joe does. So you can now look at, okay, Joe does this and I do that. How can I adapt what I know and adapt what Joe knows, adapt what Jane knows, adapt what Felix knows, adapt what Jeanette knows, and combine all that with my basic skill set to get us to where we need to be? Then yeah, you sort of like, you've got the ball rolling, because you now know what it is you need to do to get yourself out there and make sure you're different from all the people who are out there already, and make sure you stand out. And that is the most important thing, getting yourself out there and ensuring that you're different from everyone else, because that's what people are going to remember you for. The third one is, how do you show what you do to the world. Yeah, as I said, how Joe does his is he goes on YouTube and he's constantly giving free tips, free advice on how people can go about marketing. If you're starting a new business, this is how you can go about marketing. So he spends his time a lot on YouTube, and at the back of that, people are inviting him for seminars, people are inviting him for events, people are inviting him to come and give topics and chats on what it is he does and how that company can do better. So you now have to look at it that what is it that you do, which could be one, how do I go about being visual? How do I go about relating my message? How am I going to create content? How am I going to create visuals so that when I put that content out there, I stand out from the crowd and not just copying what everyone else is doing? How am I going to be so different? How am I going to be so loud that people are going to remember me? People might remember you for a while, but you need to sort of have that impact that they will never ever forget you. So you have to sort of think and go back and say, what is it that I'm doing? How do I need to show myself? How do I need to show my brand? How do I need to show my business so that I stand out from everyone else? That is the third one. The fourth one is strategy. What strategies do you need to use so that you can tell people what you do? So strategies basically is platforms. What platform are you going to probably spend more time on, depending on what you sell, depending if it's a service or if it's a product. You have to decide what platform, what strategies are you going to use. If you haven't watched my other video, I think I explained that slightly more on what kind of different strategies are, because you've got advertising. So I'm going to link it over here so you can go watch it and see. I think it's marketing. It's a different marketing strategy, so you can watch that over there and look at what strategies you could use for your business if you haven't watched that video already. So on different strategies is you just decide what strategy are you going to use at different stages of the business, and what platform do you have to go on to get your message across so that people know who you are and what you do, as well as constantly keep putting yourself out there, putting your business out there, putting your brand out there, because if people don't know who you are, people are not going to buy from you. So your brand has to be out there, your brand has to be unique, your brand has to stand out, your brand has to be everyone at the moment seems to be a digital marketer, but what makes you a different digital marketer from, as I said, Joe? So you need to be able to say, these are the strategies that I'm going to use, this is the content I'm going to create, this is how visual and creative I'm going to be, this is how I'm going to stand out. So the fourth one, as I said again, is what strategy you're going to use. So it's ensuring that you've got that in place. Then the fifth one and the last one is how are you going to keep up with changes around you? Because what used to work 10 years ago is not what's working right now. And what's working right now might not work in a month's time. And what's going to work in a month's time could be something that has been adapted from 5 years ago. So how do you sort of keep up with changes? How are you going to keep up with time? People sometimes go with the flow, and wherever the market is, that's what people sort of go with. So if there's a pandemic, people are like, oh my God, there's a pandemic, what do I do? So you now sort of latch onto that. So it's more like what's happening around in the world, what is trending, what do you need to do to ensure that you're following the trend, you're following the market, you're following the economy, you're following statistics to know what's going on so that you can keep adapting your brand and you're keeping up with time. So like everyone knows KFC, everyone knows McDonald's, and what's KFC's slogan, what's KFC's brand? People know KFC for finger licking good, so that is the brand. If you want a day where you just want to binge on chicken, then yeah, you go to KFC and get your finger licking chicken, and you just sit down and you munch on it with your Coca-Cola or your Pepsi. And those are the brands that we're sort of talking about. Those brands have been going on for years and years and years, and they keep adapting to changes. they keep adapting to time, because there are other soft drinks out there, there are other fast food outlets out there, but why do these ones stand out? Because they're a brand. The people who created those brands are probably they're not with us anymore, but those brands are still existing. Those brands are still moving with times. Those brands are still going into the future. So that's one of the things you sort of need to consider when you sort of start thinking of how are you going to adapt and change with things around you. So as I specified, is economics, statistics, what's trending, what's going on in the economy. You have to sort of look at everything around you, so that when you're creating content, it sort of sits within that and you're moving with the times, so that you're not left behind when everybody else is moving forward with their businesses. So I hope those 5 tips have been helpful, and they're going to sort of help you to sort of identify where your brand should sit, how you should go about creating your brand and your brand's identity, because that's very, very important. Because your brand could be you, or your brand could be a collection of people. So if it's not just one face, what does your brand stand for? That's one of the things you need to sort of consider. You have to ensure that your brand stands for something, and what your brand stands for is what people are going to buy into. And that is the first one, as I'm recapping again. And the second one is what makes you different. The third one is how are you going to show what you do? How are you going to be visual? How are you going to relay your message? Then the fourth one is what strategies are you going to use to get your message across to your potential clients and to the world? And how are you going to keep up with changes is the fifth and final one. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please give us a like, subscribe, turn on your notification, and we will see you next week's video. Bye.